that I might have might help make some changes. But I think as an industry as a whole, chefs, if you get behind great produce, not just organics, but diversity of produce and heirloom varieties and interesting things to eat, hopefully that will have trickle-down effects. I mean, it was only a few years ago that you could only buy one type of lettuce in Australia. You could buy an iceberg, you couldn't buy anything else. You could buy one or two types of potatoes. Now you can at least buy 10 or 12. And and people like Sir Stroncheray, pioneered this 20 years ago in Sydney and with farmers, and I'm just taking it a few steps further along the line. So I think chefs have had a really big influence on what we eat at home. Certainly all our immigrants into Australia have had a huge impact on what we eat at home. 50 years ago in Australia we were all eating meat and free veg.
Yeah.
Now it's more common to have a beautiful Thai curry or an Italian slow braised piece of meat at home than it is to have a roast, and that's great, and that's what's interesting about this country, and it's a great country to be a chef and cook in. So the more that we can move that along, I think the better and the bigger variety that we'll have in our homes, and our diet will be more interesting, be hopefully more healthy but more varied, and that's a good thing.
Is that basically just heirloom varieties that you see popping up, or is it changing in other ways?
I think heirloom varieties, yes, but also modern varieties. But it's more about diversity. It'd be really nice if you could walk into a supermarket one day and see 20 different types of apples for sale, not just two. Or to go into your local grocery store or your farmer's market and buy an apple that's in season for 3 weeks and be looking forward to it next year when that season's finished, That'd be great. It'd be nice to walk into a fruit shop and buy an apricot that actually has flavour, that's tree ripened and shipped into that supermarket, and it's only available for 2 weeks of that year, but God, you're looking forward to that apricot. That's what I'd like to see happen, and that's what I'm pushing for as far as my diversity of my palette to work from in the restaurant business. If that has a trickle-down effect, that's great.
Yeah. Now, last night you obviously dropped a slight bomb that you may open up a more casual restaurant. I mean, is part of that reason? I mean, because you say that you're buying your own produce. I mean, is this another way for you to?
Well, it's a couple of things. The Think Group, who owns Quay and Otto, we are looking at sort of expanding, but specifically Quay is looking at maybe doing a sister restaurant where we have really interesting food, great produce, but maybe a more casual, funky, young environment. To serve that food in. So we'd have Quay as the fine diner and sort of certainly our flagship, but it'd be nice to have a sister restaurant in Sydney that was doing great food in a slightly more casual environment, and it's something that the Think Group and myself are looking into. We've got to find the right venue. There's nothing totally on the cards, and there's nothing locked in at this stage. It's something that we're looking into.
And what does that mean for you as a chef in terms of what makes that exciting for you?
I think I mean, the reason for it is that we have such a great team at Quay, and I've got a great team of sous chefs, and I've got some great talent. And if we want to hold on to these people, we need to open up another outlet so they can flourish as well. So I would be working with one or two of my sous chefs in this new venture, creating some different food, giving them some input, and just sort of. I mean, diversity is a good thing, and it sort of informs what you do. So, some of the ideas we play around with in this new restaurant might end up on the Quay menu and vice versa in different forms, and it just keeps life interesting, I think.
Yeah, what might like a casual Quay look like? I mean, what would that look like on a plate?
We've got a few ideas. So we'll see. But, it's on the cards. There's nothing definite at this stage, but it's something we're looking into.
Yeah. And I mean, you're sourcing all this produce in the Blue Mountains. I mean, I know the Lord Mayor in Sydney, they've been sort of pushing the urban growing. I mean, it's happening kind of slowly but surely. Have you looked into that at all? Into tapping into any of the urban growers as they're starting to?
I think we really need to hold on to our Sydney basin growers that are left. All the land that's being sold up has been pretty shocking over the years, and we've got to hold what we have left, especially regions like Hawkesbury, all the Chinese market gardens. We need to actually hold on to those because they're supplying the majority of the fresh fresh produce into the Sydney markets, and if we lose them, you got to transfer it, import it from further away, and yeah, it's good. I'd really like to see those farmers really embrace through the farmers market system, and people getting excited about what these farmers can offer and grow. I think they can grow even more varietal, better varieties of stuff for the farmers markets and get people really excited. I think if we embrace them and they embrace us, well, we can have a really vibrant sort of market garden sort of situation around the outskirts of Sydney. It'd be a shame to lose that.
How do you see the slow food movement in Australia? I know it's had troubles because it's been riddled with politics.
Yeah, it has.
But I think John Newton's kind of trying to steer the ship in the right direction.
Yeah, let's hope so. It has had a few problems here and there, but you know, it's. But I think you know the great thing about the slow food movement is that it's really is a roots movement. It doesn't have to be so political, and you know, but you know, you're still seeing great results in having farmers markets. You know, 10 years ago, how many farmers markets did we have? Virtually none. You know, so we've come a long way, and there's still a bit further to go. I think that some of the produce that's offered at the farmers markets, you know, it'd be great to see more farmers involved and have more diversity. You know, so hopefully that'll happen.
You pulled out your purple carrots yesterday, and it's like, I'm like, I see them at Everly now. They're actually, you can find them, you know, quite readily.
It's interesting, isn't it? And I think that's a perfect example of the trickle-down effect. I mean, I started growing those different varieties of colours of carrots about 7 years ago. With you know, 6-7 years ago with Richard up in the mountains, and before that I couldn't get a farmer to even consider growing it. And then we started using it, and all the other chefs around Sydney wanted to use these beautiful produce as well. They started hassling their suppliers, and eventually some of the more conventional growers got the message that, oh, this could be something that actually, you know, people want to buy. So they're growing them. You know, you can buy white, purple, red, orange, you know, multicoloured carrots in the general Sydney fruit and veg market now. Could not do that 7 years ago.
Yeah. What would you like people to have access to now that they don't have access to? What should we be demanding now?
There's so much great produce out there. There really is, you know. And I think what's really nice is that you know, just growing different varieties. Like we started growing things like, you know, sea kale and celtus, and we started this year. We've got these, like, you know, beautiful heirloom Japanese pumpkins, the white sprouting broccoli. You know, just being able to get a farmer to consider growing fresh peas to pick the flowers so I can use them in my food was amazing, you know. So it is really getting better, and there are some great farmers out there doing some really good stuff, and I'm starting to work with another guy up on the Hawkesbury, and he's going to be growing stuff this season for me as well. So that's exciting. I mean, there's so many different varieties of beans, for example. You know, I mean, to buy fresh lima beans, fantastic. They're beautiful, like broad beans, just bigger, and really buttery and beautiful. I don't remember seeing fresh lima beans being available, so we're going to try and grow those this season. So.
You mentioned the Hawkesbury a bit. Is there a new movement up in the Hawkesbury, or is it just these guys who you just stumbled across people?
I've stumbled across a couple of farmers up there, and I think since doing a couple of stories about what we're doing in the Blue Mountains, I've actually had a couple of farmers up there approach me and ask me, can we grow some things for you as well, which is great. So this year we'll be working with them, and I believe there is a good farmers association. I believe John Newton's been on that, and he's been working with them for years. So you know, there's lots of people out there doing some great stuff.
Nice.
Excellent.
Cool.